Take the critics and your fear. There's no easy way to hear. And all the memories you love to bring, with all the things that you hate to scream. So tell me, hollow on the inside, there's no trying to hide from this monster inside me. So if you try to criticize me.
Now,
This is where it gets interesting.
this is where it gets interesting. If you were listening back casually while we were talking about the draft, this is the part where you lean forward, because I think this discussion is about to get very interesting.
Yeah.
So the Cleveland Browns in the third round, at the very end of the third round, pick number 94, take quarterback Dylan Gabriel.
Mhm.
Derek, I need to know your thoughts on this, because I was shocked that we
Yeah.
took him. But I
Yeah.
need to know your thoughts.
Well, first, I would like to apologize for turning the camera off and on so much. I am sick. When this camera's off, I am dying, coughing. So I apologize. But Dylan Gabriel, man, this pick came through. Tristan, I was at my friend's house, and I was getting ready to go to work. And let's see. Yeah, I was getting ready to go to work. Or no, it wasn't. No, because this was... So this was the day... This is a day 2 pick. So this is the end of day 2.
Very
So we were...
interesting, yeah.
Yeah, so getting ready to go to bed, rather. And I saw it come across the screen, because they showed Dylan Gabriel, and I literally looked over at my friends. I'm like, he looks way too happy right now. Like, something's going on. I'm like, he's not just sitting there. Like, something just happened. And sure enough, the Browns select Dylan Gabriel. And Tristan, the funny thing is, you asked me, oh, what's my thoughts? I was one of very few people that I know of that was high on Dylan Gabriel. I never had him as a top 3 quarterback or anything along those lines. But the one thing that I've been saying, I don't know if it's documented, recorded, whatever. It might be, it might not be. But the thing that I said about Dylan Gabriel is it would not shock me if he becomes a solid starter at some point, if not a really good backup, because he has all the traits. He has the accuracy. He has the experience. The dude's been in college forever. He's got the leadership. All his teammates love him. He's sneaky athletic. I could tell you that. Playing him twice last season, he will take off on you, and he will run. But Tristan, just as a quarterback, he's accurate, athletic. He's got a solid arm. I like a lot of Dylan Gabriel. I really do. Now, what I don't like is he is 6 foot tall, which he's definitely not 6 foot tall. Not saying that matters a whole lot, but Tristan, it kind of scares me a bit when you have a guy who is on the shorter end, but he's also a lefty. It scares me because you have to change your entire structure of your offense. Not saying it can't work, not saying it won't work, but it definitely matters. Michael Penix down in Atlanta, he's a big dude, right? He's a big dude, strong arm. I think he can navigate that well. And Dylan's been playing with great talent around him, big offensive linemen. So he's done it. I think he can do it at the next level. I laughed when the pick came in, Tristan. I really did, and I feel bad for the kid now after what happened later on in the draft and kind of how he's been overshadowed. But I will tell you, I don't believe Dylan Gabriel will be the starting quarterback for the Browns. But where I think of him right now is I think the Browns have a really, really good backup. They have a really, really good option in that quarterback room. And don't sleep on him. Don't sleep on him. He's a very good talent. The Browns obviously liked him a lot. I was shocked, to say the least, but overall, I would not make the pick. I definitely would not have made the pick, especially where it was. However, if we're taking that out of it, I don't think he is the worst. I don't think he's going to be just an awful, awful quarterback.
Yeah. So I've got a few things that I want to talk about with Dylan Gabriel. First and foremost, let's start with the fans. I never, ever call out fans. I never like might make a couple like side disses at the Deshaun backers, but there is nothing that I do that regularly like I attack fans for, or I get angry at fans with. The treatment of Dylan Gabriel and how people talked about him, and I'll actually even lump in Mason Graham. I thought it was very, very inappropriate, and I think that it was just not warranted. I can kind of understand why people were very, very upset emotionally, and emotional when we made the trade to give away the pick for Travis Hunter. I can understand, and listen, everything happened so suddenly. It's hard not to have emotions rise during that. Didn't think it was right for some fans to attack Mason Graham over it, which some did, which is just wrong. And the same thing happened here with Dylan Gabriel. A lot of people online pretty much saying that he's trash and like they don't know why he was taken there, and it was such a reach for him and all this other stuff. And in reality, I'm with you, Derek. He's a good quarterback. At the very minimum, he's going to be a long time backup in this league, which is valuable. It still is valuable. You need to have good backups that you can rely on. And people say, oh, it's a third-round pick. It's a third-round pick. It was a compensatory third-round pick 94. I hate that people are saying, like, oh, the Browns passed on generational talent to get this guy. No, he's not Daniel Jones or Jackson Dart. Like, that's not what he is. Like, that's not what it is, where you're passing on players that, oh, wow, like, this guy, like, it's pretty much bookmarked. This guy's going to be a multi-year starter in the league. It's not that. Not that at all. I know that there were some solid players on the board when we took them, but not players that I think like, oh my gosh, that guy's gonna tear up the league and he's gonna be, making tens of millions of dollars a year. Like I don't think so, that there were any players on the board that were capable of that. But let me move on from that. There's two other things that I want to mention in particular about Dylan Gabriel. There's a very, very big misunderstanding with Dylan Gabriel. People assume because of his small stature and, the fact that he throws lefty and he's got some mobility, they see him and they think of somebody who wouldn't have a very strong arm, and somebody who has a weak arm. In reality, Derek, he had the strongest arm in this class, especially when we look at throwing short to intermediate routes. And I can vouch for this and back it up. So this was a statistic posted by, or at least where I saw it, by the Dogs Podcast on Instagram. So good looking out for them. Dylan Gabriel broke the record for throw velocity at the Senior Bowl. Josh Allen and Jalen Milroe were previously tied for the record with 62 miles an hour. Dylan Gabriel's velocity, 74.9 miles per hour. This dude's got a cannon. Like, he does. In terms of throwing deep down the field and far down the field, not the best, especially when we're looking at there were times, especially with Oregon, where he would make a deep throw, and it was more so you would see it when a guy was wide open. He would underthrow him a decent bit, and the guy would have to almost like stop to field it like a punt. But he's capable of making some outlandish throws. Derek, there was one that I sent to you or I believe I sent it to you. It was from the first Ohio State meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And Ohio State was up, and it was in the red zone. It was the first touchdown of the game for the Ducks. Dylan Gabriel stood in the pocket and made an unreal throw to the boundary where, I'm not even kidding you, Derek, if it was placed inches in any other direction, it does not connect. It was a perfect throw, an inch perfect throw. He's got a talented arm. He's got solid mobility. It's not anything crazy, but it's solid. It's feasible, and you can definitely work with it. He does a good job of going through his reads. He's accurate. He's got everything. He's got all of the basics that you need for a quarterback. His height, I'm not going to lie, it is an issue. It is an issue. He did have some issues in college where the ball got batted down at the line. And that is a concern, and I understand why people are concerned about it. However, I don't think that you can look at that singular aspect of his game or singular negative to his game and make a judgment that this is a bad football player, bad quarterback. I completely disagree with that. This is a very, very good quarterback who has played a lot of games in college, comes in with a lot of experience, and is a winner. He is a winner. Every single program that he went to, he elevated. And the production at each spot was incredible. So I have a hard time understanding the people that think that this was a stupid pick. It was not a stupid pick. And also, this is where it ties into the other thing that I wanted to talk about and bring up. The Browns were really high on him, higher than what we might perceive, Derek. So this was a post on Twitter from Noah Weiskampf, previously known as Browns by Noah, if anybody is aware. So he's somebody who not a huge following, but he does a lot of insider coverage for the Browns and NFL in general. And this is what he posted that I was shocked by. So, based on the sources that he had talked to, it was Dylan Gabriel around the league was valued anywhere from a 6th rounder to undrafted. So yeah, and then he goes, yes, there were clubs that had him as an undraftable player. Cleveland fell in love with Dylan Gabriel throughout the pre-draft process and didn't want to take a chance on missing out on him, given the number 94 overall selection. They loved his decision-making, among many other things, and viewed him as their number 2 QB target in the draft behind Cam Ward.
It's insane, but it's not. I mean, I don't want to cut you off, but it makes sense. And I'm going to talk about this when we get to Shedeur too, but everybody in this quarterback room, Tristan, I can make an argument on how it makes sense. And especially when you look at Dylan, like, what is a Kevin Stefanski quarterback, Tristan? Accurate, timing, it can improvise. Like, it makes sense.
And Kevin Stefanski's playbook, there's not a crazy amount of deep throws that are schemed into it. It's mostly intermediate throws that break for long touchdowns is where we see it. It's honestly, Derek, I don't remember the last time non-Joe Flacco this team like had a throw like way up the sideline with a receiver going on a streak. Like I don't remember it.
I can give you the exact year.
Oh, is it with Baker Mayfield and
2019?
Freddie Kitchens? Oh, no,
2019. Freddie Kitchens, Baker Mayfield, OBJ's first year. We ran just straight verts every play and we just try to throw bombs every play and thought that was smart.
Oh,
air raid. Do you remember that when the Browns had an air raid offense?
My gosh. Yeah, air raid offense, but then ran on like a 4th and 13.
Yeah, with who was the left tackle at the time we had? He got busted at the border with like a truck full of weed. What was his name again?
I want to say it was
Greg Robinson.
Yeah, Greg Robinson. Yeah, I knew the last name was Robinson. I couldn't remember.
Running an air raid offense with a
Greg Robinson at left tackle.
With Greg at left tackle and no receive. Well, I guess they thought we had receivers, but
didn't we also have at that point? I don't know if it was before or after. Then we had an offensive tackle that like ended up being naked in front of a school. Like
no, that was defensive tackle. That was what was his name? Malik McDowell.
Oh, Malik McDowell, yes.
Slinging dick in front of preschools. Malik McDowell. Don't do meth, everybody. Don't do meth.
Well, there. There goes our monetization.
No, we're an hour in. It'll be.
Oh yeah.
TikTok might get. Well, I don't know if I could post that on TikTok.
Yeah, no, you're not posting on TikTok. But in this in this little quote here, Andrew Barry also described Dylan Gabriel, and he said, "Very accurate, very poised, throws with anticipation, good mobility. We just thought he had a really well-rounded game." So this is the thing, right? There are going to be people that say, okay, great, they had him as their second quarterback. They suck at evaluating quarterbacks is what they'll say. But I just think that they don't understand what the Browns are looking for in a quarterback. They need a guy that is able to throw with anticipation, is accurate, has decent mobility. You know, this is the stuff that they're clearly valuing a lot. Poise as well. And so don't look at Dylan Gabriel and them having him as their second highest quarterback. Don't view that as, oh, they suck at evaluating quarterbacks. Look at the traits that they're looking for and ask yourself, why are they looking for those traits? It's because it fits with Kevin Stefanski. They are trying to build a team that is built, the offense is built for Kevin Stefanski, and they're including the future in that consideration. I think it was the right pick, and as soon as we saw that pick, I said to myself, I think he's going to start next year. I don't know if he's not going to be a day one starter. He's not. But I think that by middle of the season, I could see him coming in and being our starter. Because Derek, we've seen it before with Joe Flacco. He's fantastic. He has games where he just throws it away, doesn't give you a chance. And then there's others where he's the only reason why you won. You know, so it's I definitely can see it. At least giving him a chance. And I think it's worth it. So not to mention, and we'll talk about this with the next quarterback the selection, but actually, you know what? I'm going to mention it now. We drafted 2 rookie quarterbacks, Derek, and 2 guys that I think at a minimum are going to be solid backups in the NFL. They're also going to be on cheap rookie contracts as well. Mm-hmm. And not to mention, if one of them doesn't step up and take over the starting spot, the Browns are going to be looking to draft another quarterback next year, which means that quarterback room in that hypothetical world where we trade up, we get our guy, right? Has 3 guys who are competent NFL backup level at a quarter of the price of any other quarterback room in the league. This pick and trying to understand this pick as well as that pick made me understand why the Browns made the moves that they made. This team is not going through a complete rebuild. They're going through a retool. So this year, they're going to retool. And then next year, they're going to go ballistic. And they are going to go for it. This is their year where they're just going to accumulate their assets, and they're going to put themselves in a position where next year they'll get their guy, and they'll try to take advantage of the 4 years on the rookie deal plus the 5th-year option of that guy. And I think they're in a very, very good spot to do it. So I got to say, now that I'm able to piece together what this team is trying to do, I think this was a great move. I think it was a great move. I like the pick.
Yeah, it's not like I said, it's not a pick I would have made personally. And I know it's it's a 3rd rounder. It is what it is. But for me personally, I would have taken a flyer on a receiver. I would have whatever. But also, I didn't think they were going to draft another quarterback after Dylan Gabriel either. And that, to me, I think if the Browns had a time machine and they were told, hey, Shedeur Sanders is going to fall to the 5th round, and you're going to take him at 144, I don't necessarily think that they would have taken Gabriel there. I could be wrong, but I think they would have more so taken him a little bit later, just because of how the quarterbacks fell. Like Quinn Ewers going in the 7th round was not anticipated at all. And Tristan, I mean no disrespect at all to Dylan Gabriel when I say this, but I don't know that there was another team as high on him as the Cleveland Browns. And that's nothing, again, it's absolutely nothing to do with his talent. Like, if Dylan Gabriel were 6'2" and a righty, I would be the biggest Dylan Gabriel fan. But the fact that he is, under 6'2", 6 foot on a good day, and he is one of 3 lefty quarterbacks in the NFL now, that matters. So would I have made the pick? No. Do I like Dylan Gabriel? Yes, I do. I like Dylan Gabriel a lot. And I'll talk about the quarterback room more here after we get through this next pick, but I'm excited to see how it shakes out, Tristan. I really am.
Yeah. And I like taking this chance here is the other thing that I'll say. Mm-hmm. It's the 94th pick in the draft. If they draft somebody that they view as somebody who fits everything that Kevin Stefanski wants and they think that can be a starter, the value is insane. Insane value. And at the very minimum, you've got a guy that is going to be a solid backup for you. Like, I don't mind taking a chance there. I don't think that he has the highest ceiling. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, he's capable of being a top 10 quarterback in the league. I don't know as though he's capable of doing that. Excuse me. But I will say this. You're absolutely right. If he was 6'2" and right-handed, he probably would have been a first-round pick. Honestly.
Probably would have been number 1 or 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I could have seen a world where if that was the case, the Browns would have taken him at 2. So he's got everything that you want, right? There's just limits to what he can do. And I think that the Browns are going to work with it because keep in mind as well, Kevin Stefanski's playbook, there's a lot of rollouts there. There's a lot of rollouts. There's, the pocket is moving a lot with Kevin. So I don't think that the height ends up being as big of an issue. It still will be. I'm not going to lie. It will be. He's shorter than Baker Mayfield, and we saw that issue with with Baker. He'd have a guy wide open over the middle. He'd go to throw it, and a D tackle got his hand on it. It used to frustrate the hell out of me, and it probably will with him too. But can you do enough good to surround that? We'll see. But I like the risk.